Hi, Glastonbury. I have missed you. I chose immune system whispering because I think we all know our immune systems have been under attack for a while. And I wanted to address the emotional aspects as well as the nutritional aspects. Obviously, this is a huge topic, so I've told Diana and the organizers that you can have the slides if we don't get to the end. Okay, so feel free to ask for those. For those of you that don't know me, I'm 33 now. I've been teaching since I was 19 years old. I got into medical intuition about 4 years ago, but it started because I got really ill with autoimmune disease when I was 10 years old. And I was told that I would never get better, and I did. And that really puts it into my gut that everybody has a right to health. And it's a divine right to unconditional health that nobody should ever be allowed to take away from us. And I believe is systemically being taken away from us more and more every day. And I think it's a gift we should give not just to the future generations, but to each other. So I'm a theta healing instructor, a hypnotist, an angel healer, and a channel. If I finish a little bit early, which I'll try to do, because it's more important to connect with you guys than to finish slides, I can do some body scans for you guys if you like and help answer some personal questions, okay? I believe that health is a manifestation of the light that we all have within us when our bodies are not full of toxins, trauma, and the massive assault that's happening on the radiation and the electromagnetic fields of the planet, okay? Your health is 100% influenced by your lifestyle choices. And I know that this is in this room, I can almost feel that I'm preaching to the choir, right? And I can see how many amazing healers I have in here and how, like, it's so nice to be in a room where the forces of light are so strongly in there with you. Okay? You are the power in your body, not just inside your world. And the thoughts that you think aren't just creating your body, they're creating the bodies of every single person around you. And when you go out there and you believe that you're worthy of unconditional health, you bless every single person in your energy field as well. And it's such an important thing because the beliefs are so toxic around aging, around your immune system, around your gender, around your emotional capacity. Seriously, most of you don't, but don't switch on a TV ever. Right? The amount of conditioning you get just from a normal TV program that you are going to get sick, that bad things are going to happen to you, that just by living longer you will be in pain is ridiculous. Right? It's ridiculous. And if you take a minute to actually just ask your guides or your angels to release that before you leave this talk, and I ask them to release it every day, because we are proactively surrounded by fear. Every advert on the radio, every conversation you have with somebody who thinks that you're sick, every time you go to a doctor that tells you that there is no way out of this, that's programming we're getting whether we like it or not. And as a hypnotist, right, I'm here to tell you the reason they bombard you with ads is because they know it takes about 300 suggestions for that belief to get beneath what they call the conscious critical faculty, your ability to resist, right? So the more they give you a message, the deeper it gets in, and until it actually gets into our DNA, right? And when I'm doing healings on people, especially on their immune system, you can see the karmic mesons sometimes have been carried in families for generations around illness or around disease, and it's always connected to particular thought forms, right? But we're going to be talking specifically about the immune system today. We are taught in science that the immune system is a complex network of cells and proteins that defend the body. From a metaphysical perspective, it's your divine protection and your ability and your belief that you are worth protecting and that you are worth defending. And that belief is under attack every day. Those beliefs of I'm not enough, those beliefs of being gaslit, those beliefs of being told that you don't have a right to have an opinion unless you have a degree or a piece of paper that says that you are worthy of an opinion. Those beliefs that say you have to be the right age or you have to be rich, or all of those beliefs affect our immune system. And believe it or not, just watching TV every day makes you acidic. Right? I wish I was kidding. Right? So when you're dealing with the immune system, most people go, oh, you're dealing with cells, and you're dealing with proteins, and you're dealing with the gut, and you're dealing with your bone marrow. What you are dealing with is consciousness. What you are dealing with is energy. What you are dealing with is pure divine protection, and your right to protect yourself. Now, when you feel divinely protected, you don't need to go out there attacking everyone, and you definitely don't need to go out there in a giant cloak. The belief that you are protected creates protection. Does that resonate with everyone? Right? And I have walked through roads I should not have made it down alive, but because of that belief, nobody even knew I was there. I have walked into cancer wards with sick children and not had a doctor go anywhere near me. It was as if I didn't exist because of the belief that I am protected. But that belief requires you following your divine guidance, right? You are all, especially when I'm looking at you, you are all incredibly gifted people. And that means that the universe will go out of its way to put you in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and to bless people's lives. I cannot, it's ridiculous, I cannot walk up the street without going past at least 4 or 5 differently abled people, without coming across people who are sick. And I know that the universe does that exactly because it's answering a prayer that they've had, to be around people that knew that they are not just worthy of unconditional health, but that they have the power to create it and not anybody else. People who can be with them in that space and won't try and take their power or abuse it or minimize them. And people who, like me, know that your consciousness creates your health, therefore there isn't one path to health. I can get healthy no matter what path I choose, as long as I believe that I am unconditionally worthy of it. This life is an illusion, which is quite an interesting concept, because what I come across in spirituality a lot is people judging people for not being into alternatives, or people judging people for being too into the medical system. And when we just drop it and you realize it's all an illusion, they get better anyway. Right? What's required is that unconditional love of the person sitting in front of you. And in this world, that's quite an advanced skill. It's a simple skill, but it's an advanced skill. Okay? The immune system relies heavily on water, minerals, and oxygen to be able to do its job properly. Just hydrating properly can boost your immune system by increasing blood flow and the ease with which the immune system can reach and access infected points. So we're going to talk about stress for just a moment, right? And I want everybody to just take their hand and turn it into a tight fist, okay? Now, that's quite uncomfortable, isn't it? Just for a few seconds. It's uncomfortable because just by doing this, you have restricted the blood flow, okay? No oxygen, no nutrition, no water is getting to your hand while you're clenched like this. Okay, so do you want to unclench your hand for me? Feel better? Most of the muscles in your body are controlled by the subconscious mind. Right? In my experience, particularly when I work with enlightened beings like you, there's also ancestral patterns, there's also past life patterns, right? That cause tension, particularly in times of stress, because we're afraid of persecution, or we're afraid of the past repeating itself, and we have a subconscious memory of just how quickly the tables can turn. And most of us are still hiding our light for that reason. But when you're doing this on a subconscious level, can you imagine if the muscles around your liver are tense, the muscles around your gut are tense, the muscles around your throat are tense because you can't speak your truth? And then your nutrition is getting blocked, your water is getting blocked, your oxygen is getting blocked, how much that restricts your body's capacity to heal itself or to repair itself, right? So that's why stress impacts your health so much. Because on a subconscious level, stress causes most of the musculature in your body to contract. And in your subconscious mind, images are constantly cycling through, sometimes over 1,000 images per minute. And to the subconscious mind, there is no time and space. which means that those images can still be happening in your subconscious mind, even if they happen to you in another lifetime, even if they happened to you when you were a child, and still be causing that subconscious tension to be creating dis-ease or unease inside your body. Okay? So when you start working with the immune system is very protective because its nature is to protect, right? And believe me when I say that unconditional love does not leave anything or anyone unprotected. It takes humans to do that. You were born with an immune system for a reason, right? Everything in nature is born with its own protection system. Even roses have thorns, right? You have nails and you have teeth because you're supposed to. And you have emotions, even negative ones, to tell you when people are crossing boundaries they should not be crossing, when they're doing things they should not be doing. And that can be the hardest thing, especially for women, to begin to undo, okay? The immune system is also very closely connected with your auric field and will absorb negative energy from conflicts or trauma, which is why your immune system is lowered by arguments and other highly stressful situations such as divorce, moving house, isolation, breakups. Just one argument can lower your immune system for up to 72 hours. Right? 72 hours, your immune system is working at half just because of one argument. Loneliness is actually more toxic, scientific studies have proven, than smoking cigarettes. Loneliness is the cause of more lung cancer than a pack of ciggies. So our emotions matter, and most of us have just spent 2 years in isolation. Okay? So there's a lot of re-nurturing going on, or reawakening going on. Sorry, guys. So when we're dealing with the metaphysics of the immune system, when somebody feels that they are unprotected, and that can be unprotected by themselves, that can be unprotected by others, their families, their partners, their children, right, which is particularly relevant in older age, right, or in difficult stages of life, or when we feel unprotected by our country, our government, our religion, collective consciousness, right? Or within an archetype. And there are very strong attacks going on collective consciousness archetypes right now. Massive ones. So when that happens, you see different ways that the immune system tries to express, either by running away from fully stepping into its power, its expression, and the person will not be able to be themselves, or they don't know who they are, and they've never been given time or space to find out, okay? So physically, the way that it shows up is the immune system fails to fight an infection or prevent the worsening of an infection. You get something and it just takes you ages to kick it. You don't know why, but it's supposed to take you 24 hours to recover, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going, right? Allergies. So the immune system can't tell a friend from an enemy. Ever had that? You thought someone was your friend and not really? Right, you really trusted someone and they were betraying you, and your body's telling you something's wrong, but they're nice to your face, even though their stuff's going on. This happens a lot with young children as well, okay? Hidden infections, and the person is being gaslit or facing an unrecognized challenge or problems that they may not be able to name themselves. So they're going to the doctor over and over again and saying, something doesn't feel right, or this hurts, and they're being told, you're fine, go home. And something really isn't fine. The average woman has to go to a doctor 6 times before they're diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, right? You have to go to a doctor for 4 miscarriages before you're allowed to speak to a consultant. And women on average have to ask for pain medication 10 times before they get given a proper dose, okay? So what's happening in the collective consciousness directly impacts our bodies. What's difficult about protecting yourself is that so much of the way that evil works, or that darkness works, is that it's hidden. And even if you know, and even if you look the person in the eye and you ask them, what will they do? Lie. Right? So what's really difficult with healing the immune system is that often, unless you have a straight connection with the divine or with your guides, is that you will not trust the guidance that you are getting. You will think that you're a bad person for even thinking that thought about somebody else. You won't be able to believe that they would do that stuff to you. And that is why disease is so connected with dissociation. because it's a disconnection from our own divine guidance, which always brings me back to Course in Miracles, right? We think we have many problems, we really only have one, a disconnection from God. When we disconnect from our own divine guidance, especially when it says things that we don't want to hear about people that we love, that's normally when you get these strange autoimmune diseases, because you start attacking yourself exactly the way you started attacking yourself in your head for having that thought or thinking they could do that. Does that make sense to everyone? And they may even start attacking you. So, symptoms of a low immune system. Your stress levels are really high. You always have a cold or autoimmune disease. You have lots of stomach troubles. So a lot of diseases, right? Because somebody has to create disease. They don't just fall out of the sky, okay? A lot of diseases, for example, IBS, etc., are just undiagnosed stress or trauma. Wounds are slow to heal, lots of frequent infections, exhaustion, okay? Exhaustion is an illness. You should not wake up in the morning feeling exhausted all the time. It's either a symptom of an underactive thyroid, of an iodine deficiency, of a vitamin D or a zinc deficiency. Don't ever trust people that tell you that you should wake up feeling exhausted. It's not okay. It means your body's not producing enough cortisol, and there's always a reason for that, right? Whether it's adrenal fatigue or anything else. So exhaustion is a sign. Insomnia. So it's quite ironic that most of us wake up feeling tired and then struggle to sleep at night. Right? But that is a sign that your cortisol levels are out of balance and that your adrenal glands aren't working properly. And that can just be because you're not getting enough light. And believe it or not, those nice blue screens that we stare at on our phones and our computers are the main reason for that. If you don't have blue light glasses, please get some. Right? Your melatonin levels matter for your immune system a lot and for your whole hormonal functioning. So, the main parts of your endocrine system from a medical perspective that deal with your healing, the spleen, the pars patia, the appendix. Now, the appendix is where the doctors remove it and say it doesn't do anything. It's actually where all of your gut bacteria get made. Right? Your nice new fresh ones that you need. So when it gets infected, it means that bad bacteria have gotten in where the good bacteria should be. Right? But you need your appendix. Same thing with your pars patch. And your spleen's job is to detox, the biggest detox organ you have. Your liver is the biggest detox organ you have. And it works exactly like, imagine you're in a giant fish tank and your liver is that filter in the corner that's cleaning the water all the time. If that filter stops working, what happens to the fish? They die, right? So if that filter stops working, what happens to your cells? They die. So a lot of what I work with people, and I'm obsessed with liver flushes, guys, obsessed, because your body is able to heal itself. And if it isn't healing itself, then you look to the liver. And what are they telling you to look at? Look at the gut, look at the gut, look at the gut. I'm all for looking at the gut, but if your gut isn't okay, it's because of your liver. Right? It's what pours the bile into the gut. It's what defines the chemistry and the pH, and whether or not the food that goes in to feed the gut bacteria is properly digested. And what is the liver the center of? It sits right on your solar plexus chakra, which is the source of your divine power. So when you feel powerless, or when your power has been taken, your liver tenses and tightens. And that actually makes everything here get dry. It makes everything in your gut work a lot slower. And it also stops us from being able to get rid of the hormones that we create. So believe it or not, hormones have a very short shelf life. They're only supposed to be in your body, some of them only a few hours, some of them 1 or 2 days. But if your liver's overloaded, and by overloaded I mean you just drank a cup of beer that evening, right? Your body in its infinite wisdom will prioritize getting rid of the drug instead of getting rid of your hormones. And what it does is it changes the hormone's form into a form that's less toxic, but still toxic. From estrogen to oestrogen, for example, which is oestrogen is the primary source of most female cancers. And it will recycle it in your blood over and over again until it can get it out. So if you have one drink on a Friday night, it's already not great. But if you're having one every night, or if you have to take pills every single day for a medical condition, Can you see how over a long period of time that would really mess up your endocrine system without you even understanding what's going on? And why so many other of the side effects from the drug suddenly kick in so hard, right? So I love, love, love liver flushes. I literally kiss the dandelions in my garden in the morning, right? You just have to pick the dandelion leaves. Milk thistle is amazing. There's an amazing herb called quebra pedra, it means stone breaker in Spanish and in Portuguese, that will dissolve the stones in your liver within 6 months to a year of taking them. It's an Amazonian herb. But the fastest way, because we can have up to 50,000 stones, sometimes over 100,000 stones in our liver, is through liver flushing. Okay, and it's free, you can do it from home, and all you need is olive oil. It's not exactly difficult. Okay, so if you Google, I really like Andreas Moritz's liver flush. He's passed away years ago, but he was a god when it came to health stuff. So what I'm going to do with you guys is, if you would like, is just command an instant healing on your endocrine, your immune system. Would you like that? Yeah. So just say yes, and I'll put that in on all the different levels. Here, yes? Yeah, okay. So where is the immune system? It is all over. So when I do a body scan on somebody and I look at the immune system, their whole body lights up, right? And sometimes even their auric field lights up. What happens is most people are looking for the immune system inside the gut, or they're looking for the immune system inside the thymus gland, right? But the immune system, and this is how I think, it's how incredible God is. And you can see I did my chakra thing, right? Every single chakra that you have has its own immune system. Every single organ has its own immune system. And every single organ is literally surrounded by your lymph system, which drains and pulls away the toxins and replenishes and puts back the lymphocytes that need it. So when you do a scan, you'll light up like a rainbow, but you will see that every single part, so literally your immune system not functioning in your bones have an immune system, right? Will cause things like leukemia, or cause things like low platelet counts, or constant long-term low blood pressure. Things like problems with spleen, tonsils, appendix is eventually what ends up in you having to have your teeth out, right? But they connect with your body telling you what beliefs are you holding that are causing that block in your ability to protect yourself in that particular area, in this particular space, okay? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna move forward, because what I can do, would you guys like me to make you a guided meditation for this? Yeah, and then I'll send it to Diana, and you guys can ask me questions instead of listen to me guide you today. Okay, so can we unplug you guys from the collective consciousness around the immune system? Would that be all right? Can we cut all your cords that go to the beliefs in the collective consciousness that you shouldn't have an immune system, that it's low if you're past a certain age, or that you'll catch every cold that's going? And can we plug you into the people and that divine light that have already mastered their immune system, that know how to do that so that you can share in that miracle they've already created? Yeah? And we'll ask your guides to do it in a way that's perfect for you in your highest and best good. Yes? Okay. So all cultures, religions, families have their own rules and laws about health and the physical body. Some are spoken, others are not. If you're a girl, 1 minute being too fat is a problem, the next minute you're too skinny, you better put on some weight, right? Beliefs about health are crazy. 1 minute you need to be on a diet because your blood pressure is high. The next minute you should eat meat. It's wrong to be a vegetarian. So beliefs in the culture really crash very often with our own capacity to change our diets. And the reason most people fail when it comes to changing their diets is because we connect over food. Right? It's basic connection and love to sit next to someone and share a meal. And it's really rude if someone puts something in front of you and you go, I don't eat that. Right? And we will choose love over, I suppose, self-preservation every single time. So, many of these rules and laws are constricting and keep us tied to a level of consciousness that these collective consciousness are at. So what's the belief in the collective consciousness about diabetes? Is it curable? No. Oh, it's getting better. Right, it's getting better, but 10 years ago it would have been no, never. What about cancer? Is cancer curable? Yes. Nowadays, yes. 10 years ago? No. What about AIDS? Yes. 10 years ago? No, it's how Louise Hay became big. Her hay house was where people would come when they were just being told that they're going to die in 24 hours and nobody knows how to stop it. It was her grace when people didn't know what AIDS was or if they could catch it from sitting next to you, and people had nowhere to go. Right? And now we have that belief about different things. Many people believe that ADHD isn't curable, dyslexia isn't curable. The collective consciousness dances with our own individual beliefs. Okay? Disease can be transformed and balanced. Okay? There's a lot of people that believe you have to suffer and you have to go through karma to clear disease. The Ascended Masters teach us that grace will do that for you. So, anywhere that you're connected in an unhealthy way to the collective consciousness, and a part of you believes that whatever you have, whether it's arthritis or cancer or depression, cannot be healed, would you like to be unplugged from that now? Okay. Would you like to know that you no longer need to abide by the rules in the collective consciousness about worthiness and health? Yeah? Would you like to know that you can heal any damage caused to you by negative beliefs, negative diagnosis, and any trauma that you have from being traumatized during your diagnosis in any way or during any surgery? Is that okay? Would you like to know that you can still be loved, taken care of, rest, and be yourself without having to get sick? That you can rest through boundaries instead of resting through disease? Easier said than done. You may have to run away, but it's better to rest than to get sick because you're exhausted. Would you like Creator's truth on disease and to know how forgiveness and forgiving an illness and disease, when in the collective consciousness believe that certain diseases are evil or unforgivable? Would that be okay? Yeah? So, who knows that the illnesses are in your DNA? Most of you, right? Can see you lighting up like giant little stars. So your ancestors and the level of belief in your ancestors, if you go back 700 years, diseases were punishments sent by God. Right? Can we release that? And can we show you that a disease is being out of balance with yourself, with your environment, with your Creator? So you can have a belief on different levels, and that's one of the things I love about Theta, is that you cannot believe something consciously yourself, but be carrying it in your body or carrying it in your soul, because time is an illusion of consciousness. And you're existing in all places at once, not just as a soul, but as an expression of health. And one of the things I find super interesting about the immune system was that people could manifest illnesses from traumas in other lifetimes as well. And I remember being with my best friend in high school, and he had spina bifida, and I remember praying to God long before I understood anything about spirituality and asking, why? Why did he struggle with it? Why did he suffer with it so much? And having a dream where him and I were in a battle together. We were brothers in that lifetime. And after the battle had taken place, his foot, the one that was all curved and was crushed in this lifetime by spina bifida, was run over by one of those horse carts that would pick up the dead and the dying. And I remember his angels telling me in the dream, it stopped him from ever having to go back to battle. So he carries it from lifetime to lifetime, so he'll never have to kill another human being. And it's his reminder to never let himself be pulled into that kind of violence again. So anywhere where you have that, or your male ancestral line has that, can we show you that you can be non-violent without having to pass on trauma? Yeah, or carry it with you? Because we've all been men and women in different lifetimes. Whoop. If you get the slides later on and you want all the downloads and you're one of those people that's very particular, just put your hand on the slide and say yes and they'll all go in. Okay? Don't freak out about it. I've programmed my slides. They know what they're doing. Okay, so can we clear any fear that you have about protecting yourself? The belief that protecting yourself is abuse? Yeah? That you'll become abusive if you protect yourself? There's always a way of doing it kindly but firmly. Would you like to know that you're allowed to protect yourself from others without causing them harm, even if their feelings are hurt? Can we release your fear of guiding clients to heal their immune systems? Of guiding other people to heal their immune systems? Of remembering that you are, every single one of you, a medical intuitive inside already? And that you don't really need anyone's permission. You just need to remember who you really are. Would that be okay? Can we release any ways in which you're disconnected from yourself and let you bring that up to Creator's light? Can we release the belief that it's your fault that you are sick? Yeah? That you are choosing to carry the trauma, that you are choosing to stay stuck. And can we show you that whenever we're stuck, it's because we have a unique divine curriculum and there's some gift in there we just can't see yet. Okay? There's always a gift in there that we cannot see. And so often, and I do not say this from anything resembling a high horse, I spent 10 years with an autoimmune disease and then another 5 with something else. And even just 4 years ago, I spent 4 years with a back so bad I couldn't even drive the car. Okay? When you get sick, it's often to remind you, and I don't know who this is for, but my angels are like whacking me on the back of the head. Sometimes it's to remind you that you are here to heal other people. And very often in the wounded healer archetype, we believe we have to be sick before we can heal others. It's an ancient archetype, right? So either you step into your divine life purpose as a medical intuitive, or something might push you. And that push might just be a disease. And if you think about Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, we remember as a collective consciousness, the witch burnings was a Holocaust, guys. It was 9 million women that were killed for being healers. The richest system in the world is the healthcare industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that if you guys remember that you are medical intuitives and you remember that you can create instant healings, will dissolve into dust. It's exactly like the beauty industry. If you remember you're beautiful in the morning, the makeup isn't going to come off the shelves, right? Except that this one has an investment in keeping people sick and perpetuating illness. But you are the health you want to create in the world. I promise you that. Okay, so would you like to heal any beliefs that you have to heal others by absorbing their feelings? And can we show you that God can do that by whatever name you call that being? All right? So your body is made to handle your energy. When you absorb somebody else's energy, you can transmute it. If you walk outside in the earth and you ground it, it will come out of you. Right? But like I said, we choose our problems because we need their gifts. And if that person isn't empowered to fully awaken and activate and step into that gift, they will either create another problem or create another disease until they find the solution. Empowering people is not just about healing a physical condition. It's about them remembering who they really are and becoming empowered. And that's not something that can come from the outside in. It's something that has to happen from the inside out. Right? So you can be a temporary fix, but never a long-term fix. And that's so hard. You guys are so kind. So kind. And many of you would die for other people. And I remember sitting next to the bed of one of my friends who was really sick when I was a little kid. And I remember saying to God, take me instead. Right? Hurt me instead. Make me sick instead. I don't want to see them suffering. One of the hardest things for us to do is to watch the people we love suffering, correct? But what happens when we absorb their suffering is that we stop them from stepping into their full divine power. You can hold space for someone in suffering. You can help someone to transmute their suffering. But when you absorb their suffering, suddenly there's 2 people suffering and both of you are deeply getting unwell. Does that resonate? And that's why most empaths and healers that I know are either sick or in so much pain. Because we're dealing with not one, but for me sometimes between 20 to 30 people a week who aren't okay. And there's only so much that you can carry. So until you tap into that prana, divine power, whatever it is that you call it, or rose by any other name, and allow it to work, to transmute that stuff, you will absorb it because you are kind and you don't want to watch people suffer. Okay? So it's allowing that energy to do it for you. So can we show you how to trust your own energy? And how to use the different levels of that energy with yourself and other people instead of absorbing people's pain. And show you that you won't lose your compassion. You are not compassionate because of your pain. You're compassionate in spite of it. In spite of it. Many more people are turned to darkness by pain than any other force. So I promise you, the pain is not what's making you compassionate. It's not what's making you strong. You are strong. You are compassionate. That's how you got yourself into that situation. You're afraid of your light, not your darkness. And you're afraid that if you actually heal one person and it doesn't hurt, then you'll heal another and another and another. And suddenly people are going to start noticing what you can do. And you've been hiding for lifetimes. There's a call going out that's far bigger than me for us to stop hiding because too many people are dying because we're hiding. And it's systemic to the extent that most naturopathic health practitioners I know hide their light and hide their abilities. It's systemic to the extent that there's legislation inside the UK that says that you cannot talk about healing people or curing people. It's illegal to do that. So something has to shift. Okay, I'm going to do a few more. Okay, so the immune system is strongly connected with our feelings of safety and being protected and worth protecting. As a result, many of the diseases that manifest in the immune system and are inherited from the family systems, particularly situations where we should have been protected as adults or children and we're not. Prana is stored at the cellular level in our DNA. Most of our DNA is not for protein production, and scientists call this is insane, isn't it? Junk DNA. Like Creator puts anything in there that shouldn't be in there. Most of the DNA is not for protein production, and scientists call this junk DNA, and are unnecessary for biological function in the body. These seemingly inactive parts of our DNA store our prana at a submolecular level, and is often where our blocks are. So our ancestors were clever. They survived things, dark things, difficult things. If I go back just 2 generations, in my family, my ancestors were leaving Nazi Germany to go hide in Brazil. Right? So they hide things, even from our conscious awareness, so that when someone comes along all light and fluffy and says, you don't need that, your ancestors are like, yeah, you might just need that. I hope it never happens for you. How many times have you held your grandkids or held your children and thought, I hope nothing bad ever happens to you? But you make sure they're prepared if it does. You make sure that they would know how to survive if something happened to them. Well, your ancestors and Creator put that in your DNA, put that into your bones, so that you often don't know the true extent of your own strength until you are tested, until you stand against things and you... I'll give you an example. I am quite a soft and fluffy person. And I normally don't like conflict. My husband, he likes the conflict. I, not so much. There's always a conflict. I'll avoid it with everything I can until my son was born. And here I am in a hospital in the middle of COVID, and they're trying to do all kinds of things to me and all kinds of things to him. And within half an hour, I am the mother. And I have 4 consultants in my room trying to convince me to do things, and I'm just standing there very kindly going, no. Right? And they are saying scary things to me, but the baby might die, but this might happen, but that might happen, and I'm still going, no. And that strength is in me despite the fact that I'm still bleeding, despite the fact that I had surgery less than 6 hours ago, despite the fact that I haven't slept since that kid was born because he needs milk. Right? And I'm still holding 4 grown men at bay and going, no. Did my mother wish that for me? Hell no. If she could have protected me from that, she would. Did she put the strength in me? Of course she did. And that's exactly the kind of strength that was put in you. It may not have been put in you by your parents, but you are the love of thousands, not just two people. And even if your parents weren't great at being parents, you're still the love of thousands. And those thousands knew how to love. And that's why you're here. That's why we still exist. So your ancestors are not just a really annoying bunch of people you inherited trauma from. They're an incredible, incredible vortex of light that you got your gifts from, and that sometimes the gifts were nurtured from generation to generation to generation until they were ready to come into you and become the gift they were supposed to be for humanity. Immune system conditions can be inherited. Okay, in the past, they're often handed down. When I do a body scan, they're often handed down because of inherited toxins, things like lead, mercury, particularly with women with teeth. I'm not even going to go into vaccines. I know you guys get it, right? Especially things that change DNA on a molecular subconscious level, and not even touching on stress and things like domestic violence. Immune system conditions can be and are often inherited, okay? Just because it's inherited doesn't mean it's not trauma. And you can experience a lot of trauma, not just from inside the womb, but from in between life states, right? The dehumanization of others and ourselves deeply affects the immune system. So we are kept divided by sex, divided by race, divided by our political affiliations, because that makes us easy to control. And that division causes isolation, because when I think that you are not like me and I feel alone, I don't want to be on this planet, and I don't like humanity very much. When I stop loving humanity, humanity falls into fear, because that's what love does. It dissolves the darkness. And most of us are finding it really hard to love humanity right now. Right? And we're really scared and we're really judging. And from that space, it's not easy to create the kind of shift that we need. As a society, we haven't even managed to stop organized murders yet. Right? We give people nice gold stars on their army uniforms for killing people. There's a massive shift in consciousness that still needs to come forward. And it's not on another generation, it's on us. Right? So when you're working with the immune system, you're not just talking about protecting you. We're talking about protecting humanity from fear, from trauma, and ancient generational trauma, ancient generational curses. And that's a type of spiritual warfare that hasn't been around for a very long time. There aren't many people praying over humanity right now. And it's about time we remembered that we need to send love into the dark places. Because what happens when we get hurt is we pull away from it, right? There was a Holocaust with the witch burning, so we pulled out of health. The wars caused a lot of death, so we pulled out of those areas and we stopped going into politics. But then fear dominates those spaces, and fear causes disease. This is why health conditions from different lifetimes and our ancestors and emotions associated with one family or tribe can manifest a disease in us. Many healers in this lifetime believe that they have to heal their own family's collective bodies, as well as the energies of slavery, sexism, homophobia, war, and disease. Where I'm from, this is called the zeitgeist of a collective consciousness. Right? So you can feel a zeitgeist hovering. You can see what they're doing right now with the fear-mongering with Russia and before with the fear-mongering with COVID. They will tap into the collective wound. They will tap into a fear in the subconscious mind of a people, and they will stir it to see just how much pain they can cause in that area. Right? And that leads to increased death, increased disease, and is an incredibly effective way of doing population control. Over the past decade, many studies have investigated genetics of autoimmunity and have found one common feature, a particular gene called TYK2. This gene has been associated with at least 20 autoimmune diseases, including multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and psoriasis on a submolecular level. Would you guys like to close that? Yeah? Okay, nice deep breath for me. Now, you can get genetic tests to find out if it's really been closed. If it hasn't, you can get a healer to help you close it, okay? Nice deep breath, just say yes, and I'm going to witness that one. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay. I'm going to be super brave and stop here and let you guys ask some questions. Sound like a plan? Yeah? Okay, so you can have a copy of the slides and get to the end if you want to, and feel free to message if you need more information, okay? Okay, who has a question for me?
We can roll with the microphones, so if you could wait for a microphone to come to you this time, that would be lovely. So, does anybody have anything they'd like to share or ask?
Or are we all quiet? Because if you're all quiet, I can keep going.
You've all gone very shy. Come on. Because none of us need healing.
Go for it, darling. Oh.
Right next to the microphone as well. You spoke about the appendix and also the necessity to do liver flushes and so on. Unfortunately, I am minus my appendix and I am also minus my gallbladder.
Okay.
So what do you suggest in circumstances like that for people like me who have been medically manipulated and whatever else?
Okay, so you can do a liver flush without a gallbladder, completely safely, not a problem in sight. As for the appendix, you have two options. One is that you can keep resupplementing live gut flora. One of the best ways to do that is actually with organic breast milk. So you can call a breast bank and they will give you breast milk from women who produce it, so you'll get that fresh in. Once a month should keep it ticking over, right, without a problem. If you're brave, you can attempt to grow a new appendix. Right? Your body is perfectly wired. You grew your 10 fingers, your 10 toes. You can 100% grow back organs. I know it's not a normal belief, but it is true. So if you start to visualize, listening to people like Dr. Joe Dispenza helps a lot because he grew back a lot of his spine. And if you're like me and you work consistently watching people grow, it dissolves the belief that it's not real and that it's impossible. You grow your hair. Every 2 or 3 months, you regrow every single organ that you have. The reason that we age is because the more stress we experience as we get older causes the telomeres on the end of our DNA to become looser and looser. So the copies aren't as accurate, and then our bodies don't replace the cells in the same way. They know that meditation caps those telomeres for almost 20 years longer, right? So there's a lot of books on that. I mean, a lot of books on that, but if you message, I'll send you links, right? So you can 100% regrow it. The biggest belief is start by unplugging from the collective consciousness and then look into the beliefs around your appendix, because if you've lost both your gallbladder and your appendix, that tells me you're dealing with a lot of people that want you to be really nice but aren't supporting you in fulfilling your dreams. Right? And that, you know, you're a real channel and you've got a lot of people to help, and you can't do that and keep allowing those people to do that. Does that help? Okay, my love. Oh. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so nervous, guys. Bear with me.
My toes seem to have a mind of their own. I do not.
Bless you.
Throughout my life, I've thoroughly enjoyed going out, snow, wet, doesn't matter. I like going without shoes on. Mm-hmm. But my toes are now turning across each other, and I'm told that there's nothing other than surgery, and people don't want to give me surgery at the moment because, it's terribly, terribly painful. You don't want to come into hospital, do you? Any ideas?
Okay, so there are these This is very practical advice to begin with, okay? There are these really squidgy Chinese things that you can literally put in between your feet, and they make you look like you're wearing webbed socks. Does anybody know the name of them? Tabbies, yeah. So those will be the first solution for you. You can put them literally inside your socks, and they will go in between your toes like web feet, and they make it look like you're getting your toes painted, but they will help your muscles reform properly and straighten your feet and your toes. Right? They're actually showing me that you struggle with back pain, and that you've been walking not right for a very long time, and that's what's caused the muscles in your feet to be harmed. So if we put those in your feet, it's going to correct your back, and then you won't be a self-perpetuating pattern. If you had surgery, it will just come back because it's about your hips and your back, not about your feet. You with me?
What did you say they were called?
What are they called, guys? Squidgy? I don't know. I'll find out. I'll find out and I'll tell Diana. I'll find out. I call them squidgies. That's not the right name. But they are really strange things. They're like web toe stuff. Okay, my love, just for you, back, especially lower back, is about not feeling like you can financially support yourself and not believing that you have gifts, like valuable gifts. It's like you know you have them, but you don't think they have any financial worth. Does that make sense? Yeah? So that's what you're looking at healing, is who told you that your gifts had no value when the truth is that you have $1 million gifts. And it's really important for loving people to make loving decisions around their gifts and who they share it with. There's too many very scary people with too much money right now. Does that make sense? Right? Money does not corrupt you. If you are corrupt, money magnifies that corruption. Does that make sense? So it's about healing the financial abundance. And they're showing me there's fear of aging because there's so much abuse of old people. So I would look at what you saw happen to your grandparents as they got older as well and resolve that, and then I think it'll go away and never come back. But I can't promise anything. Yeah. Oh. I'm going to trust the mic runners, guys.
Fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis,
Yep.
degenerative neck, stomach problems, IBS. Any ideas you can give me help? All I get is tablets from the doctor and just tired all the time and can't sleep, half-hour sleep at night. Any ideas or help, please?
Okay, so the first thing I'm getting when I scan you is like your angels are like so much compassion for you because no one's taking you seriously. And you've been being gaslit for years, and it's breaking your heart. Sometimes illness breaks your heart, and you've isolated yourself. You're pushing people away because you don't want them to see how much pain you're in, and you're pretending that everything's all right when it's not. So can I release the belief that no one can help you and that no one will help you? Because that'll attract in nasty people that you don't want around you. And can we replace it with the belief that people will help you, people can protect you, and that many people have healed this? Would that be okay? Okay. Oh, getting some energetic help there. Okay, so the next thing that I'm seeing is that, I don't want to say this out loud, but there's abuse, a lot of abuse around the womb and the ovary area. So we're going to need to get you some kind of EMDR or EFT or emotional therapy because you're dissociated from your pain. Does that make sense? Yeah. But you don't want to be on this planet anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not going to feel like this forever. It's going to move. It just requires, you can't, let me put it to you this way. When I was 10 years old, they told me I'd never have children and I'd be sick for the rest of my life. If I believed them, I wouldn't have my son and I would still be in a room sick somewhere and I'd still be in pain and exhausted every day. Right? So from a dietary, nutritional perspective, we need to get some iodine in you. Your iodine is really ridiculously low. Like ridiculously low, which is stopping your immune system from doing what it needs to do. I don't know if you have teeth implants, but they're showing me you've got heavy metals going on as well. Just one, but you still got one. Okay, how many did you have? So you had loads. Okay, so I'd recommend you find someone that does chelation, because that will actually pull out all the heavy metals from your system. Because the way that the cysts and tumors and stuff work is that your body goes, okay, if this is going to kill the liver or kill the kidneys, your body's really protective, so it will suck it into a tumor to stop it from causing sepsis and stop it from destroying your liver and your kidneys. You can survive years with fibromyalgia, but you will die within 48 hours of sepsis. Andreas Moritz, when he wrote his book, Cancer is Not a Disease, he explains the tumor thing and the cyst thing and the fibro really, really well. Andreas Moritz, he's not around anymore, but he was a really incredible medical detoxy guy. Okay, I'm just doing one last scan on you. Okay, can we do a broken heart healing on you? And can we show you that you will be loved again? Would that be all right? Okay, so I'm trying to put it in, but it's staying here. So they're saying to tell you that when your heart is broken, you can never go back to who you were before. It's kind of like when I had my son, right? I kept trying to go back to who I was before I had him, but that person didn't exist. So it's when you've had your heart broken, you need a new heart, and God will make you the one that's the right for you. So can we show you that hearts can't be healed, but they can be recreated? And that you have to surrender to who you're going to become instead of trying to go back to who you were before. That be okay? Okay, now it's going in. Okay, my love.
There's a gentleman at the back who's been waiting here. Just hold the mic, thank you. This guy will have to be fairly quick. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay, one last one.
Thanks. I'm type 1 diabetic with a side order of peripheral neuropathy.
Okay.
Obviously, I've been told it's incurable, and I'm insulin dependent. Any suggestions?
Dr. Sebi. Have you heard of Dr. Sebi? Well, he's not around anymore, but he wrote a really amazing book that eradicates type 1 diabetes. It's really easy to find on Amazon, to find him on YouTube. They're taking me straight to your liver, darling, so I would really recommend that you start doing liver flushes. They're showing me that within 6 to 9 months, your blood sugar will start to normalize. You're going to need supervision from someone. Do you live in Glastonbury?
No,
Okay, Brighton's actually really good for this stuff as well. You're going to need a naturopath or someone to keep an eye, because with diabetes, you don't want to mess around with the medications and stuff without someone really checking. Same thing with any kind of medication, you need to come off quite gradually. Yeah. But with every liver flush you do, the medication will need to be altered and your insulin will need to be altered as well.
Yeah.
Right? But it will, they're showing me you have almost 80,000 stones in your liver.
Wow.
So we need to start taking it out slowly. The reason it can happen in type 1 diabetes is that the baby will actually take stones from the mum inside the womb. Right. And babies can be born with over 10,000 stones in their livers, and this is one cause of type 1 diabetes. There are more than one cause, just like there's more than one cause. It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Very much so. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, I love you so much, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Thank you for having me, and it's been an absolute pleasure.